Okay, welcome everybody. We are tackling this trailhead, coming back to it. I'm at that last step. The first three steps are pretty simple. This is the create a customer account portal with self-registration flow. The first three steps, you can do this in a few minutes. So if you want to go back and do those steps, we're at the last step now. So we got launch your Trailhead playground, set up a customer account portal, prep your org for login registration flow, and set up the login flow with data privacy options. Okay, so we're gonna do that now. So we're gonna go through it. All right, so guys,
Say hi.
we are live. Okay, say hi to the camera.
Hi.
All right, so I need you guys to be quiet or go to your room. Okay. All right. Mira, do this. This is for when we go out.
Is that your?
Yeah.
Broken.
Go wash your hands. Okay. So set up the login flow. Close the door. Set up the login flow with data privacy options. Overall flow design. Okay, so we are following Maria as she preps the org and the portal. Let's look at the flow she'll create to allow her customers to self-register and choose their data privacy settings. Here's what the flow looks like in the flow builder. Okay, so we got our start. We're gonna get info with the get records function there, and then it's gonna show a screen. Then it's gonna create the record, and it's gonna update information. Okay, and then it shows her a welcome screen. There's 6 elements in the flow. Here's what each of them does. Look up the customer information from out of the box self-registration flow. Ask customers for the data privacy settings. Creates an individual record based on the privacy settings. Updates the contact record created in the self-registration steps for the portal with the correct privacy settings. Welcomes the new member. After Maria creates this flow, she plans to assign it as a login flow for all customers with the customer community user profile. Remember, when we set up self-registration for the portal and assign all new self-register users to the customer community user profile, well, we now connecting the dots. Any user with customer community user profile has to first go through the login flow to indicate privacy settings preference before continuing on the portal. Now that we have the lay of the land, you can continue in one of two ways. Option 1, set up the flow by installing the unmanaged package. Option 2, follow the steps we outlined to set up your own flow. Okay, so if you wanted to just make it work and get the points, just install it. Or you can follow the instructions. Okay, so we're gonna try to follow the instructions here. Alright, so we option 2, use flow builder to set up record variables and start with the steps there. If you go with option 2, it's a good idea to learn about flow builders by learning Lightning Flow Batch. Okay, so if you want to learn more of that, you can complete this Lightning Flow Badge, and it shows you all about flow. Okay. Alright, so if you want to do the unmanaged package, that's how you do it. Okay, and then you just need to get a password so you can install it. Alright, option 2, that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so we can create the flow. Okay, so see that's the package there if you want to install it that way. Alright, so option 2. Okay, now we're jumping deep into the world of flow. Again, a reminder, if you jump down to assign your flow as a login flow and test it in your portal. If you just install the flow with unmanaged package, before she creates the self-registration flow, Maria needs to create a record variable and other variables that she'll use throughout the flow elements. Variables help pull information from various parts of flow and Salesforce. Navigate back to Salesforce setup. Okay, so we're gonna log in. Let's go down here. Okay, so we're gonna launch our Lightning Web Component Trailhead. So Lightning Web Components is really cool. Definitely look into that. There's a lot of amazing things you can do. Okay. Assign your flow as a login flow. Okay. So we're gonna navigate to setup from Community Builder. Then enter flow and quick find box and select flows. Click new flow. Alright, so we're gonna go to setup. Go to flow. We're going to create a new flow. And it's going to be a screen flow. Then click Manager tab and then New Resource. Okay, so it's going to be a screen flow. Manager tab, New Resource. Okay, so we're going to create a variable. Right, from the select the resource type, drop down, enter following contact ID. Okay, so we're gonna do contact ID. It's gonna be a text, data type text. All right, and then click done. All right, so we got our contact ID there. Okay. Follow the same steps to create other variables with the following properties. Click done after each one. Okay. So we got individual ID. It's going to be text. We got login flow user ID. That's a text, and it says select available for input. Okay, so that's going to be input. And then registrants accounts. And that's just another text. Okay. These are variables and text. And the second one is available for input also. Oh, wait, where'd it go? Okay. Okay, we're back. Okay, so okay, and then available for input, right? Input. Available for input. Yes. And then one more. Registrant accounts. Text. All right. So we got those 4 variables. All right. Now let's set up a record variable which stores updatable field values for Salesforce record. Basically, the flow uses this variable to store the data for a little bit as user goes through the flow. Okay, so this is okay, user info. Record user. Okay, so it's a record and the object is user. Okay, so variable, wait, it's a record, right? Okay, record. Okay, so data type is record, resource type is a variable still, okay? And that's it, right? User. Okay, so object is user. Okay, user. Okay. Wait. Just user. Okay, done. Okay, now that you set up your variable, you're ready to start creating the flow. Add a get record element to gather the user's information. Now Maria needs to go get the user's information so the flow can then assign the privacy setting to the user. If the customer is only signing up for the portal, the flow will use the information they enter. Maria wants to capture their first and last name as well as their email address. Okay, so we're gonna go to the element tab. We're gonna grab a get record element into the canvas, and it's gonna be called get user info. Okay, copy that. The API name, okay, so automatically get records objects user. Okay, get records from user, and then the conditions are met. All right. Okay, so these are the conditions. Okay, so let's go into elements, get records, drag it in there. Could be like that. Okay, so it's gonna be named that.
Bobby?
What?
Why are you and Mommy doing my Mickeys?
Your Mickey? Your Mickey's in the laundry room because he's gonna get.
No kids?
He needs to take a shower. Yes.
No kids?
Huh?
No kids for my Mickeys?
No. Nobody. Mira, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Hey. So you want a new Mickey? Or you want your own Mickey?
I want my Mickey.
Okay. Well, mira, mommy's making dinner, so let me finish here and then we can go get him, alright? Alright? So, alright, close the door when you go. Thank you. Alright, so this is gonna be the user, one record. User. Okay, for the get record of this object, select user. Okay, why is this create new record? Hold on. We want get record. Okay, there you go. User. Esto no acaba, man. Okay, so the conditions is ID equals login flow user ID. Okay. ID equals login. What was it? Login flow user ID. Okay. So that's one of the variables that's just the value. Oh yeah, it's a variable. Okay, so that's one of the variables we created. Right? That's it. And then for select variable to use to store user info. Okay, so select variable to use to store user info. Great. Okay, so there you go. That creates our get user. Then it says select user field to store select user fields to store in variable. Fields, add, click. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, so let's go back here. Alright, so, okay, here at the end. Alright, select user fields to store. Alright, so now we're going to select first name, last name, account ID, and contact ID. Okay. First name, first. Last name. Accounts, ID, and contact ID. Okay, so that's gonna take those fields and get those fields from user. Okay, drag a connector start element to get record. At this point, now let's save the flow because nothing's worse than failing to save something you worked on. Okay, so it's gonna be privacy settings. Oh, wait a minute, I already got that one. I already exist. What? How many times did I create this? Okay, I think there was some issue. Okay, and then it says add elements to ask for and save communication preferences. Let's follow along with Maria as she configures her flow to ask customers to specify their privacy settings. Again, screen. We're going to create a screen and it's going to be called communication preferences. Okay, screen. Preferences. Okay. And then display text. Okay, so just copy those things over. And then we're gonna grab a checkbox, 3 checkbox. Okay. One, 2, 3. Okay, and then just copy and paste these things over. Okay. Okay, and hit done. Okay. What's next? Maria needs to save these preferences in a newly created individual record, which is where Salesforce tracks privacy preferences. Now, let's see how Maria does this. Okay, create records. We're gonna go and create records now. That's gonna create an individual record. Okay, it says click and drag for label. Again, use separate variables, resources, and literal values. Privacy settings. Okay, so we're gonna fill that out for first name. User info. Last name. Oh, has updated. Okay. Has location. Okay, this one's profiling. My usage. Okay, right. Tracking. Profiling. So it's tracking there. Okay. And what's up here? Huh. Okay. And store an individual ID. Done. Okay, so it says update contact record with individual fields. The next step we almost done with the flow creation. It is to update the privacy setting field on the user's contact record, associating it to the record that stores the customer communication preferences. This is the individual field we added to the contact page layout. Remember that? Now it's all coming together. Drag a update record element into the contact and label it update contact individual. Specify conditions. Contact. Conditions are met. ID equals user contact ID. Oh, user info, contact ID. All right. Okay. And then set field values for the contact records. Define the following: field, individual ID, value, individual ID. Okay. Field, individual, value, individual. Okay. What else? Click done. Click the node at the bottom of the create individual and connect it to update contact with individual. Okay, save. Now the last step in the flow, in this step we simply thank customer for joining Ursa Major customer account. Okay, welcome. So here's the screen. Display text. Thank you. Well, that's why I have okay, let's turn this one off first. Oh, see? Okay. Mimi's home. Okay, here's where we can deactivate that one. Alright. Okay, so we're gonna activate the one we just created. So we're gonna go back and click on it. And now we can activate. Right. Okay, so now by activating flow, you're making it available to use in your org. Just think what powerful tool this can be. Do you want to ask customer to accept terms and conditions every year? Do you want to create a flow for that? Do you want to update their contact information at login? You can create a flow for that too. Now let's associate the flow to the customer community user profile. Assign your flow as a login flow and test it in your portal. So you laid your groundwork in your org, then made this amazing registration flow. Now what? Assign the flow to the customer community user profile, which is the profile assigned to folks who sign up for the portal. Then you can test everything after you publish and activate your portal. From Salesforce, enter login flows. Okay, so let's do a new login flow, privacy settings. customer community. Okay, so we're publishing it to click navigate to administration. Going into the settings. Activate community. It's already active. Now let's test the login flow, make sure it works. So you have to create a user for the portal, log in as a new user, go through the login flow, and finally check that the right records have been created and updated. Let's see how it's done. Account portal. Okay, so we'll go ahead and test this out and let you know what's happening. But basically, that's how we do our flow. All we need to do is create the user, test it out, log in, and get your points. All right, so hopefully you guys like this video. If you have any questions, let us know. Thank you and take care.